Welcome everybody, it's Paul from the Binary Options Advantage Trade Room, and today the 17th of November 2015, we've just started our trade session and we've made a trade on the news that we just won. It was a nice call based on the trade on the news event this morning. But what I wanted to talk about today was quickly, we are in our live trade session now, but I wanted to talk about quickly what the pairs that we monitor or the pairs that we trade. Lots of people, one of the first questions they ask, and we do have an FAQ section which we're going to look at on our website, but one of the first questions are asked is which pairs do we trade, what do we monitor or audit during our session that we trade on. Well, they're all listed down here and they go from left to right on the MT4, and they're arranged like this in order. I mean, you really can't see anything if you wanted to do something like this. You know, you really couldn't see all those pairs effectively. So, you know, it's not efficient that way, but this way we arrange them from left to right in a logical order. I'm going to go over that, but first I want to show you that on our website there's an FAQ page right here. FAQ on the Binary Options Advantage Binary Options Advantage home web page. Here's home, and then here's FAQ. You click on the FAQs, you get a couple of other questions answered. But what currency pairs do you monitor? The 12 pairs that we watched and trade on during the New York and London session, we trade 12 pairs. Now we do add 2 pair for the Asian session because for a couple of different reasons. But for our normal trade session in the morning, these are the pairs, and this is the order that they're arranged in, left to right on the MT4 charts with our templates up, and we're going to go over them real quick right now and discuss why we put them in that order. So let me get my Bill Madden, my Coach Madden tool out here, and did I do it? Yeah. And let's start with Euro US dollar right here, and that's what we're looking at right now, Euro US dollar. Why do we have Euro US dollar as home base, basically? Because Euro US dollar is the most traded pair that there is in Forex trading. US Swiss is right next to it. Why do I have Euro US dollar and then US Swiss? Well, because Euro US dollar and US Swiss are what we call inversely correlating pairs. Inversely correlating pairs, meaning that when you see this here, and we'll illustrate it after I get done with the annotation here. What you see here, you will see a mirror opposite image of on US Swiss should we go to that pair. So that's why we have those two. And then we have pound dollar and euro pound. And those two are next to each other because they both concern the pound dollar and the euro dollar, because they have something in common with the pound currency. Then we have what I call the yen sisters, the 3 yen pairs that we monitor. And they are pound yen, Euro yen, and US yen, and those are together for obvious reasons. It's when we click from left to right when we're checking our pairs for a trade setup. They're all together, and sometimes they correlate, sometimes they don't. Then we have Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar, and those two are put together because they are down under type pairs, okay? And a lot of times we'll see on Aussie dollar and on New Zealand dollar, we'll see something pop up and we don't have any idea why it did. Some kind of a news event occurred or something, and you'll see a big spike. But it's good to look at those two next to each other. US Canadian, Aussie Canadian, and Pound Canadian round out our 12, and that will show you, well, that's obvious because they're all Canadian, or what we call loonie pairs, loonie dollar pairs. Okay, so that's the reason we have these things set up the way we do from left to right, and those are the pairs that we monitor during the trade session every morning on the New York-London trade session that begins 9:30 Eastern Time and goes to 11:30. We're in the middle of it right now, or coming to the middle of it, and we did just get a trade on the news win. But I did want to go over this real quick, make a video about why we arrange, what pairs we monitor and what pairs we trade and why, and there's your explanation. We do add for the Asian session, I think Euro New Zealand, or a couple of pairs, I don't remember right off the top of my head, but we add 2 other pairs for the Asian sessions on Tuesday and Thursday nights. Now I mentioned inversely correlating pairs. Here's Euro US dollar and here's US Swiss. You see how it's the opposite picture? You have a green candle, you have an uptrend, you have these movements over here. Take a look at Euro US dollar, you have a red candle, a downtrend, and you'll see these same type of movements that have taken place. So it's pretty well in correlation, and they have been recently doing pretty well. There was a time back when the Swiss banks had their meltdown back, I think it was last February, when Euro US dollar and US Swissy were not correlating, and that usually when you see that Euro US dollar and US Swiss is not correlating, that is not a good sign. That means that there's going to be a lot of volatility in the markets for that session when they're not correlating. Anyhow, here we go. This is our website, and again, you can go to the FAQs. You'll get a lot of questions answered, as well as that particular issue that we talked about now. Thank you everybody for watching. I will just say at this point, have a great trading day. Oh yeah, you know what? Let's take a look at those two wins. Let's take a look at those two wins in the history. That's what I wanted to do before we wrap up the video. We did trade on the news, and it was a 5-minute and a 2-minute right there. There's the 5-minute winner. Nicely done. And here's a 2-minute winner. We took a 2-minute and a 5-minute, and here's the 5-minute. They were both really well in the money. Our official strategy says to take a 5-minute with a 2-minute optional trade. So that's how we work that this morning. And again, if you want information about trading with TBOA, the Binary Options Advantage, there'll be information at the bottom of this page, this video on YouTube. And thank you everybody for watching. Happy trading.